Good afternoon. I am Jerry Mulligan, publisher of the Chronicle, and I want to welcome you to the Citrus County Chronicle's annual political forum, a public service event coordinated by the newspaper for the last 6 decades. Our tradition has been to conduct this forum at the Citrus County Auditorium in Inverness, but the COVID-19 has changed everything about this year's election. In respect for the public health concerns of holding large indoor public gatherings, we are conducting these recorded interviews to share with the voting public. There are 2 candidates in this race, incumbent Sandra Sam Himmel and challenger Paul John Reinhardt. Both are Republicans, and there are no Democratic challengers. So all voters can participate in the August primary. The winner of that contest is the next superintendent of schools. The format will be that each candidate will get a 3-minute opening statement, followed by questions from a reporter. When those questions are completed, there'll be a 1-minute closing statement. So with that, we will begin, and Ms. Himmel, you have the right to begin.
Thank you. Hi, I am Sam Himmel, your Superintendent of Schools and Florida's 2020 Superintendent of the Year. As many of you already know, under my leadership, our graduation rate has increased 28%. The number of students earning college credits through dual enrollment has increased 46%. All 3 high schools have been recognized among the best high schools in the U.S. by U.S. News & World Report. International Baccalaureate Program has been recognized in Florida's top 5. Withlacoochee Vocational College has been recognized in Florida's top 5 technical colleges. Our student social studies test scores, which include U.S., history, and civics that we do teach, outperform the state averages. Recognized as the first Purple Heart School District in the nation. Our WTC nursing program for the past 4 years has been rated in the top 5 of the state. After the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas event, we increased SROs to 1 per school. We also expanded our security by adding guardians to our secondary schools. The Citrus County School District is a huge operation. We are the largest employer in Citrus County. We employ over 2,000 people. We are the largest restaurant in Citrus County by serving more than 2.1 million meals last year. We have faced many challenges throughout my career in the past several years. In 2008, we experienced the recession. We worked with our school board and union to avoid furloughs while other districts across the state had to fire their staff. Many districts cut their art programs, their music programs, guidance counselors, PE teachers, some of their athletic programs. But we found ways to keep those programs in our schools. The most recent challenge has been navigating through these uncertain times because of COVID-19. Within 1 week, our staff was tasked with developing a plan for distance learning. We delivered meals to families to make sure our kids did not go hungry. We had bus drivers mad at us because of CDC guidelines, they were asked to stay home, and all they wanted to do was come to work and be a part of a kid's life and make a difference. See, that's what our school district's all about. It's about family. It's about building relationships. It's about making sure that we have the right processes and programs in place to make our kids successful, to make sure we build relationships with our staff, our students, our families, and our communities. As you can tell, being superintendent of schools is not only about the academics, it is about meeting the needs of all kids, academically, socially, and emotionally. Our kids come from all walks of life, and we need to be the safe haven for them. As your superintendent, I have proven to you I can make bold decisions and move our district forward. I have proven to you to be fiscally responsible with taxpayers' monies. I thank you, and I ask for your vote.
Thank you, Ms. Himmel. Mr. Reinhardt, 3-minute opening statement.
The incumbent gets last licks in these forums. I saw them before I attended them. Ms. Himmel will be condescending and say what my opponent just don't understand. But she will tout the establishment line because she's entrenched in the system for well over 20 years. That's her experience pushing our kids into bad policies. I was in the Central Ridge Library where Ms. Himmel pushed Common Core, accompanied by Patrick Simon, then district administrator. As for this Superintendent of the Year 2020, whenever she gets an opponent, the establishment gives her an award. This award was given in 2019 after I entered the race. It was given by the establishment elite by appointed superintendents, State Senator Bill Monfort, who's the CEO, Kurt Browning, a Pasco superintendent that's appointed, that was a stooge in Tallahassee that ushered in Common Core. She's a favorite of the establishment. I'm a favorite of the people. We have grade inflation. Kids sit in front of a computer until they pass exams, the same exams. We have kids that graduate, they can't even sign their name on voter registration cards. We have teachers told to provide PowerPoint notes that have the test answers on them so kids can score well. Students that don't do a thing are handed an automatic 50%. All this and more to make her look good with graduation rates. As for the armed guardian issue, the schools are loaded with soft targets. There's absolutely no requirement that they be ex-law enforcement or ex-military. That's wrong. They shouldn't get the job because they are the husband of Miss Himmel's secretary that was not ex-military nor ex-law enforcement. He was bounced from training, paid training by the sheriff. The background should be checked by the sheriff, not the school district. Buddy Grant was hired by Himmel even though he had a checkered past not acceptable to the sheriff or the law enforcement community. No search committee was even formed. He earns $100,000 for a part-time job, and we still have open doors, multiple open doors on our schools. I want the schools evaluated for free by the NRA's School Shield program. Buddy Grant did not eliminate these soft targets for the $100,000 he gets. I want respect for district employees, teachers, support staff, and administrators. I want honest and fair hiring, retention, and advancement opportunities. In 2004, since 2004, she had a shake 'em up, shut 'em up management style with revolving doors of lawsuits, constant unrest, firings, hostile work environment. We can't keep losing good people. We need blind resumes to avoid nepotism and favoritism. I want books that could withstand a spot audit. Ms. Himmel changed parties for political expediency. She is not in Citrus County Right to Life and or the other pro-life groups that I'm in and endorsed by. She was never on a life chain. I want you to aim higher for a change.
Thank you, candidates. We're going to now ask reporter Mike Wright to come and ask some questions.
Thank you, Mr. Mulligan. Good day, candidates. We're going to ask 4 questions. Give up to 1 minute apiece for each answer. Okay? We'll start with Mr. Reinhardt, and here's your question. What's your position on corporal punishment? Should we be paddling kids who misbehave?
I don't agree with corporal punishment as the first step. I believe we have to have parent involvement. I believe that if corporal punishment is needed, it shouldn't. We have enough on the plate for teachers and administrators. I want to hire a district-wide dean of discipline that will work with the parents and make sure that there's no problem with the paddling. It's still on the state books. The school board voted against it, but it can be brought back again. So that's my position.
Thank you. Ms. Himmel?
I believe that in the world we currently live, I do not want to put our staff in a position by paddling students. We have many programs in place. We have counselors. We have social workers that work with our kids. We have deans at each one of our high schools and one of our larger middle schools. They do work with our kids. They do come up with plans and processes and programs that we can put our students in there. This is not about paddling kids. It's about changing their behavior and meeting the needs of where many of our kids have come from.
Thank you, and we'll start with you, Ms. Himmel, on this one. Looking ahead for about a month from now, 5 weeks from now, the first day of school. So it's the first day of school following, well, summer break, but following 2+ months of learning at home. What does that first day look like, and what role does the superintendent play in setting the tone for the school year in this COVID school year world?
The first day of school, in fact, the first few days of school, we have processes in place and a program where we will test and assess all of our students to find out if there has been a gap in their learning from last year to this year, which we know there's probably been a small slide or maybe a huge slide for some. So we'll put that in. We'll assess our students. We have a team at the district office which is putting in place safeguards for our students to keep them safe with the COVID-19. We've had a firm direction from the state of Florida, the governor, and the commissioner of education that schools will be open 5 days a week. We've also got a plan in place to offer virtual classes for kids who do not want to come to school, and we are currently working on a hybrid.
Thank you. Mr. Reinhardt.
Yes, I have received numerous calls from parents. They cannot get any communication with the district. They're quite upset about it. They were just given two choices, and I believe we should have worked on a hybrid program to begin with. A lot of the parents do not work full-time. They were available to be home, but they wanted the kids to go to school. It's kind of too late now to come up with hybrid. We should have been working on that. I had hybrid when I taught courses at the College of Central Florida. It worked out quite well, and these students scored much better, and they actually should have been afforded that option.
Thank you, sir. And Mr. Reiner, we're going to start with you, and this is like a two-part question. I'm going to ask you a question, then follow with a different question, similar topic to Ms. Himmel. This is a question for you, Mr. Reinhardt. The Citrus County School District has a $200 million plus budget with over 2,000 employees, making it the largest employer of the county. What similar experience do you have managing an organization of that size?
I worked as an executive director for the National Academy of Naturopathic Medicine. We had about 4,000 members nationwide. I actually had to schedule speakers, and I actually had to schedule a lot of meetings throughout the country. I also worked with the Acupuncture and Oriental Medicine National Coalition, and we had to not only, we had a large budget with that organization, and we had to also lobby for acupuncture and natural health in Tallahassee, which I did for a number of years under both Republican and Democratic administrations. Very large budget we had.
Thank you, sir. And Ms. Himmel, the question for you is, you were once a superintendent with no experience. What did you find as your biggest challenge, and how did you overcome it?
When I became superintendent, I had already served on the school board for 8 years, so I was already part of the system where I was working with the budget, where we approved budgets. We found ways to make sure that everything was funded properly for the best interest of our kids and staff. And the first day, I met with all the staff. We went over all the processes and some of the policies, and I was able to start that job running.
The governor signed the bill, as we know, boosting the minimum salary for teachers, beginning teachers, to about $47,500. Should Citrus County readjust its pay plan so that teachers with more experience have higher wages? And if you do that, how do you pay for it?
We've been working with our budget and our finance group, and we will be meeting the 47.5 that the governor has put into place. And yes, we are working with the budget to make sure that our tenured teachers, which we totally agree, should also get a significant raise based on some of our teachers will be receiving $6,000 and $7,000 raise to meet that minimum. So we want to make sure that we take care of our tenured teachers, teachers at the top, so that we can retain them in Citrus County.
Mr. Reinhardt?
We're losing teachers regularly. I received a call from a parent in Citrus Springs Elementary School, and she was telling me that the whole year goes by and they have at least 2 teachers covering, and the administrators change. We have a mass exodus of experienced professional teachers leaving this county. We do not have a proper recruitment and training program like the other counties do in Florida. So I would find a way to pay these teachers. I, in fact, want to have a program where they actually get higher education through being given scholarships for master's degree programs.
Thank you. Before we go to the 1-minute closing statement, I wanted to ask one question for the both of you. It's a one-word answer, so just a one-word answer, and we'll go with you, Mr. Reinhardt, and Ms. Himmel. The question is, should we have armed teachers in classrooms? Mr. Reinhardt.
I believe...
You want one word? Okay. Yes or no?
I would say yes.
Ms. Himmel?
No.
Thank you. And now 1-minute closing statements, and Mr. Reinhardt, we'll start with you.
I want to guide the district in a new direction with better options for students. like real dual enrollment. I want a flex schedule for high schools like other counties do. I want release time for students to attend religion classes, and I want better vocational training, especially in the building and maritime trades in high school. Okay? I want safe schools with both security and infectious disease safety. I want American-focused education. The Constitution, a lot of the students don't even know there's a federal and a state one. I want participation in municipal, county, state, and federal levels of government. We have to restore patriotism to the schools. I want God Bless America sung in every classroom. I go to Haiti and Mexico regularly on medical mercy missions. Outside in the morning, they have Pledge of Allegiance, and they say their national anthem right in front of the school. What does this country do? We produce graduates, and we even have teachers that are knocking down statues that are of historical import that they don't even know about what the history is behind that.
Thank you. Ms. Himmel?
At the beginning, my opponent said that all I would do was attack him, and that was not my intent, but it was obvious that that's all he can do is to me. And I will tell you that probably 90% of what he says, probably 100% of what he says, we are bound by laws and budgets and things that we already do, but he's not aware of that. We do say the pledge every single morning in each class. We do have a flag raised in every classroom. But what I want to say to you in closing is that walking across the stage in San Diego at the national conference and being recognized as Florida's 2020 Superintendent of the Year, not only was I representing Florida, but I was representing Citrus County, our community, your community. Serving as your superintendent has been an honor and will continue to be an honor, and I am so grateful that you have allowed me to serve. Even in these uncertain times, you can be certain of one thing, that with my proven leadership in this district, we will continue to move forward, and we will continue to soar to new heights. Thank you for your vote.
Thank you very much, Ms. Himmel. Thank you, candidates. Good luck in the primary, which, of course, for you is the election.